Imagine waking up one morning to find that the blueprints to one of the most advanced technological vaults in the world have just been left sitting on the sidewalk. That is essentially what happened this week in the tech world. We are not talking about a minor security slip or a vague blog post. We are talking about the entire underlying source code for a major AI platform just oozing out onto the internet.
It is absolutely unprecedented. For context, an engineer accidentally included a map file in a routine update. It was only about 60 megabytes, but that file could be reversed, converted, and transcribed right back into the complete readable source code. We are talking about hundreds of thousands of lines of code, and of course, the internet reacted exactly how you would expect. Within hours, it was archived, cloned, and mirrored tens of thousands of times across repositories before the company could even hit the delete button.
The toothpaste was completely out of the tube. But what fascinates me is not just the leak itself, but the immediate, almost chaotic aftermath. We are looking at a situation that might actually force us to rewrite intellectual property law. Someone took this leaked code, which was written in one specific programming language, and used another AI tool to completely translate it into an entirely different programming language overnight.
That is the part that truly exposes the legal gray area we are entering. In the traditional software world, if you steal a company's code and sell it, you face severe legal consequences. However, if you replicate the functionality from scratch without ever touching the original code, that is generally considered acceptable. It is a grueling process, historically known as cleanroom engineering. Companies used to spend millions of dollars and years of labor to build these layers of legal separation just to prove they did not copy anything directly.
But now we have an AI that can perform that exact cleanroom engineering process in a matter of hours. The person who translated the code effectively stripped away the original proprietary language. The new code is completely different, but the machine it builds operates in the exact same way. It begs a massive philosophical question. If an AI can instantly translate the soul of a software into a new body, does copyright even exist anymore?
It is a brilliant way to put it. We are essentially watching AI quietly erase software copyright in real time. Our current legal frameworks rely on the barrier of human effort. When that effort is reduced from years to seconds, the laws completely break down. Judges and lawyers are going to be untangling this for a decade. But while the legal world scrambles to catch up, the tech world is busy dissecting the leak to see what is coming next. Because this code did not just reveal how the platform currently works, it revealed an entire hidden roadmap of unshipped features.
And some of those features are genuinely mind-bending. There is one in particular that sounds almost biological. I think the community has been calling it auto dream. Can you break down what that actually does?
AutoDream is a perfect example of how AI architecture is starting to mimic human cognition. Think about why humans sleep. During REM sleep, our brains consolidate memories, discarding the noise of the day and saving the important lessons. AutoDream is a background agent designed to do exactly that. When the AI is idle, it runs in the background, reviews all of your past interactions and context, and compresses those memories. It essentially dreams about your workflow so it can be more efficient the next time you interact with it.
That is incredible and maybe a little eerie. It implies a shift from AI as a static tool you put back in the toolbox to an entity that continues to work and optimize itself while you are away. And speaking of working while we sleep, there were also mentions of something called UltraPlan, right?
Yes, UltraPlan takes that autonomy a step further. Instead of just answering a prompt immediately, this feature spins up a dedicated remote session in the cloud. It spends 30 uninterrupted minutes using a highly advanced reasoning model purely to plan out your task. It builds checklists, evaluates potential pitfalls, and structures the entire architecture before a single line of actual work is executed.
It sounds like hiring a senior project manager who demands absolute silence in a conference room before letting the junior developers start typing, which naturally leads into the multi-agent systems we have been hearing about. The code revealed a whole architecture for what we used to call AI swarms, though I assume they are using a more corporate-friendly term now.
Exactly. The industry seems to have settled on terms like coordinator or orchestrator, probably because swarm sounds a bit too much like a science fiction disaster movie. But the concept is identical. You have one primary AI acting as the boss, and it delegates tasks to a fleet of worker bots. Each worker has its own isolated workspace and its own set of tools. The leaked code outlines the exact infrastructure of how this orchestration is managed, right down to scheduling routine automated tasks.
It is fascinating to see the actual mechanics of how these systems talk to each other. But amidst all this high level, enterprise grade architecture, I was struck by a detail that feels almost intrusive. Apparently, the AI is monitoring our emotional state while we type.
That was definitely one of the most surprising discoveries. Many of us have experienced that moment of frustration when an AI just is not grasping a complex prompt and we start typing in all caps or using shorter, sharper sentences. The leaked source code reveals a process designed to actively monitor your language and detect if you are losing patience. It is essentially reading the subtext of your frustration to adjust its responses.
So it knows when I am one typo away from throwing my keyboard out the window. That is both helpful and slightly terrifying. It really blurs the line between a software interface and a psychological dynamic. But we cannot talk about this leak without bringing up the absolute absurdity hidden deep in the files. Among the heavy enterprise features and legal implications, there is a fully functional hidden virtual pet system.
It is a wonderful reminder that at the end of the day, these massive systems are still built by humans with a sense of humor. They built a complete companion system, similar to a Tamagotchi, that sits next to your input box. Depending on your user ID, you get assigned one of 18 different species. You could get a duck, a dragon, a capybara, or something simply labeled as a chunk.
A chonk. I can only imagine the pixel art for that. And there is a whole rarity system too, correct?
Yes, complete with a 1% drop rate for legendary pets. They can even wear tiny wizard hats or propeller beanies. But the best part is their stats. In a normal game, a pet might have strength or agility. These pets have stats for debugging, chaos, and snark. So your virtual companion might actually just sit there and sarcastically judge your coding abilities.
I love the idea of a legendary, highly snarky capybara judging my syntax errors. But there is a brilliant little technical workaround tied to those pets, too. I heard the developers had to use a clever trick to even get them into the code base.
They did. The company has internal build scanners that automatically flag certain words to prevent naming conflicts with their actual serious AI models. One of their upcoming advanced models is codenamed after the capybara. So, when the developers tried to name the virtual pet capybara, the system rejected it. To bypass their own security scanner, they had to encode the names of all 18 pet species in hexadecimal format. It is the programmer equivalent of spelling out the word WALK, so the dog does not get too excited.
That is such a beautifully human solution to an automated problem. Now, before we wrap up, we should address the financial rumors that always follow these kinds of tech leaks. There were mentions in the code of something called X42, which sounds suspiciously like a cryptocurrency protocol.
It is vital to clarify this, because the internet is very quick to jump to conclusions. The leak does contain references to X42, which appears to be an infrastructure for agentic crypto payments. This means they are building a way for AI agents to independently transact money to pay for API calls or cloud services. However, there is no consumer coin. There is no token to buy. It is purely a back-end protocol. So if anyone sees a new coin pop up claiming to be the official token of this leak, it is absolutely a scam.
A very necessary disclaimer. It is incredible to step back and look at the sheer scale of what this leak represents. It is not just a glimpse at one company's misstep, it is a crystal ball showing us the entire trajectory of the industry. We are looking at autonomous agents, memory consolidation, emotional tracking, and the potential collapse of software copyright as we know it.
And we have only scratched the surface. There are still mysterious commands in the code, like an undercover mode, that researchers are actively trying to reverse engineer as we speak. The entire competitive landscape now has full access to this roadmap. The ripple effects of this single map file being uploaded will dictate the direction of software development for years to come.
It really makes you wonder what else is operating quietly in the background, just waiting to be uncovered. We will undoubtedly be keeping a close eye on how the legal and technological dominoes fall from here. The future of software is moving faster than the laws that govern it, and it seems we are all just along for the ride.
Tune in next time to AI and I, hopefully under better circumstances.